In the matter of K. Purushottam Reddy versus Union of India, Supreme Court dismissed the writ petitions. Court said that the doctrine of legitimate expectation cannot be invoked to claim an enforceable right contrary to the constitutional arrangement in matters governed by express constitutional provisions and legislative policy. Following key issues arose for determination of court in this case: whether the exclusion of the states of Andhra Pradesh and Telangana or any other state from the scope of delimitation under the impugned notifications and limiting it only to Union Territory of Jammu and Kashmir is arbitrary and violative of Article 14 of the Constitution. Whether the failure of Union of India to give effect to Section 26 of the Andhra Pradesh Reorganization Act has frustrated legitimate expectation of electorates of these states, thereby giving rise to justiciable cause of action. What is even more compelling is the inevitable consequence that would follow if the relief sought in these writ petitions were to be granted. Court said it would open the floodgates to similar demands from other states, each seeking early delimitation on ground of parity or administrative convenience. Granting such relief in contravention of constitutional timeline provided under Article 173 of the Constitution would not only destabilize the uniform electoral framework envisaged by the Constitution but also blur the clear demarcation between constitutional prescription and political discretion. Permitting such isolated departures from constitutional embargo would also amount to impermissible deviation from equality principle embedded in Article 14 of the Constitution and would amount to a facially discriminatory practice without any valid classification. The delimitation process is, by design, a legislative and executive function. If this court were to compel such an exercise through judicial fiat, it would likely be construed as an interference in the policy making prerogative of the executive. The constitutional edifice carefully balances institutional rules, and any disruption of that equilibrium would undermine both the legitimacy and functional integrity of the democratic process. The doctrine of legitimate expectation is not a rigid rule and must be considered where a superseding public interest or a statutory or constitutional bar exists. Thus, while legitimate expectation may guide how discretionary powers are exercised, it cannot be invoked to compel an authority to act contrary to a binding legal or constitutional command. It is trite law that the doctrine of legitimate expectation, while forming an integral part of jurisprudence on fairness in administrative action, does not clothe the party with an enforceable right in itself. It operates within bounds of legality and must necessarily conform to constitutional and statutory mandates. It is evident that exclusion of states of Andhra Pradesh and Telangana from purview of the delimitation process under impugned notification does not suffer from the vice of arbitrariness or discrimination. Distinction drawn is firmly anchored in the constitutional structure, particularly the proviso to Article 173, which expressly bars any readjustment in total number of seats in legislative assemblies of states until the first census after the year 2026. The legislative and constitutional framework thus provides a clear and rational basis for such tailored administrative distinction. Article 170 has no application to union territories, including the Union Territory of Jammu and Kashmir. The petitioner, therefore, cannot claim parity between the position of Jammu and Kashmir and that of states of Andhra Pradesh and Telangana, which remain subject to constitutional scheme governing states. The delimitation exercise carried out in Jammu and Kashmir, being governed by distinct constitutional and statutory regime, cannot be analogically extended to states that are explicitly bound by the constitutional restraint imposed under Article 173. The impugned notification thus do not violate Article 14 of the Constitution. The petitioners cannot, in law, thus claim a right to delimitation in defiance of a constitutional mandate, nor can they invoke administrative fairness to defeat a clear constitutional prescription. In light of the above, court said we are unable to hold that the electorates of Andhra Pradesh and Telangana possess an enforceable legitimate expectation that can give rise to a justiciable cause of action under Article 32 of the Constitution of India.